Welcome to Sight Reading for Guitar, Exercise 1, as we are going to begin our journey in first position. And when I say first position, I mean the first 4 frets on the guitar. And those 4 frets are going to correlate with fingers 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the fretting hand. Now today we're going to be focusing on the open E string, so we don't have to worry about fretting. That open E string is found on the 4th space of the musical staff. And so hopefully you've looked at the introduction to sight reading, and in that level, we cover the lines and spaces. So by now you know that the 4th space is the E note. And you will be getting a heavy dose of that E note in exercise 1. From start to finish, it's nothing but the open E string. So our challenge is not note identification today. You should already know that E note. I want to focus on time and counting. And so if you look back at level 18 in beginner 1, that'll be a quick refresher on the time signature, the quarter note, the 8th note, and the measure. So I talk about all that in beginner 1, level 18. Check it out. I'm going to do a quick recap on that right now. Exercise 1 has been written in 4/4 time. And so if we look at the time signature, the top number is the most important number. It tells us that each of these measures get 4 counts. A measure is just a container of counts. So from this bar line here to this bar line here is a measure. From this bar line here to this bar line here is a measure. And you can see I've written in the counts. This is a quarter note, and you already know that a quarter note gets a count. So it only makes sense that counts 1, 2, 3, and 4 are quarter notes. The math should add up. Now an 8th note gets half of a count. So if you put 2 8th notes together, that's a half a count plus a half a count, which gives us a full count. So 2 and the and of 2 equal all of count 2. So we have a quarter note, which is count 1. We have 2 8th notes, which are count 2. We have a quarter note, which is count 3. And then a quarter note, which is count 4. The math adds up to 4 counts. Okay, well, it's time to begin, and if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you will notice these 9 points. These 9 points are the prep work that you're going to do before playing a single note. By doing this prep work, you're going to learn how to read much, much faster. So think of this as a to-do checklist before starting the piece. Now, not every 9 point is going to be relevant to your exercise, but before each exercise, I will let you know what the relevant points are to help you with your reading. Point number 1, the term first position. As we discussed earlier, that means the first 4 frets of the guitar. Now the open E string can be included in first position since we can keep our hand hovering over those strings. Now since this is primarily a picking hand exercise, we really don't have to focus too much on points 1 and 2. And so that brings us to point number 3, and that's alternate picking or alternate free and rest strokes. So if you are a flat picker, in other words, if you use a pick, make sure through the entire exercise that you use down and up strokes for maximum efficiency. And if you're a flamenco or classical guitar player, make sure to alternate your index and middle fingers through the entire exercise. Point number 4, I want you to count the rhythms on the page as you tap counts 1, 2, 3, 4 with your pencil. My cursor will represent the pencil in this exercise. Make sure that the down tap is on the count, and then you lift on the upbeat of the count in preparation for the next count. And so when you're here, you would count 1, 2, and 3, 4. And you'll notice on the and, I lifted my cursor. And when I'm on count 1, even though I don't have an and beat, 1, 2. Between counts 1 and 2, I'm lifting the pen or the pencil exactly in the midpoint of that count. So this helps you to keep your rhythm solid. And I'm going to count measures 1 through 8 with you, and by then you should be able to count the rest on your own. I have the metronome set for 50 beats per minute. I'm going to give a 4 count, and we'll begin the exercise. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4, and. Now, if the exercise is too fast, you can slow it down on the video player that you're using, or you can set your own metronome to a lower tempo, or just turn off the metronome and count using your own time. Tap your foot to a count to keep a steady beat. I like practicing with a metronome because a metronome has perfect rhythm. Sometimes when you're counting on your own and you don't have a metronome, you can get a little creative and set your own speeds in the areas that are difficult. So the metronome helps keep you honest. We are going to skip points 5, 6, and 7 since that has to do with note identification. We're only playing one note, so that's not going to be a problem. I want to focus on point number 8. And so what you're going to do is count and play the notes at the same time. And so your focus is on counting as you play these E notes. To demonstrate, I will set the metronome for 50 beats per minute and play with you from measures 1 to 8. And I feel like at that point you should be able to do the rest on your own. Remember, it's okay to write in the counts above the note heads. So you can put a 1 here, you can put count 2 here, the and of 2 here, count 3 here, count 4 here, and then the and of 4 here. So you can write in those counts if it helps you to count as you're playing. 50 beats per minute, I'll give a 4 count, and we'll begin. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4. Point number 9, and that's training your eyes to look ahead of the note that you're playing. Expert sight readers can see several notes ahead of what they are playing. And so the idea is that as you are playing count 1, your eyes are already looking ahead to count 2 and doing the math before you play it. And so if it's too fast for you to do that, then slow the metronome down or the player down so that you can see ahead of what you're playing. And this is going to make you a much better sight reader.